Hi, comic book fans. Welcome to another SuddenlyComics.com video. And today I'm going to do a comic review. So my review today is of Terry Moore's 10-issue comic sequence called Serial. Okay, so Terry Moore, I know from back in the day when I was first collecting comics. He had a comic called Strangers in Paradise, which I really liked. He self-published it under Abstract Studios, and I see that this is Abstract Studios as well. So I imagine this is self-published as well. A very interesting guy. He's a sort of cartoonish type drawing art, and a lot of his stuff is black and white in the center of the comic. So I picked up this set, having not read anything from Terry Moore since the original Strangers in Paradise series. And I bought this as a complete set of the 10 issues of Serial. And I've just read this, and I have to say, I think it is terrific. In fact, it's going to cause me to go back and read some of Terry Moore's stuff in between Rachel Rising and this, in between Strangers in Paradise and this. In particular, there is a series called Rachel Rising, which runs for 42 issues. And one of the characters in this series, I believe, began life in Rachel Rising. So I am now going to have to go find a complete set of Rachel Rising because I've enjoyed this serial series from Terry Moore so much. So what do I like about it? Well, what I do read comics. I don't read a huge amount of them because most of them disappoint me. I'm looking for something that is going to be intellectually challenging, where the artwork moves the story along and works with the artwork. And one of the benefits of having a comic where the artist is also the writer is quite often they will use the art to move the story forward. And indeed, here in Terry's stories, we get number of pages where there is no text at all. It is just artwork. And I really like that. I think it really helps with the pacing of the story. I like my comics to be fun to read. I want to be able to turn the next page and look forward to looking at the next page. I don't want to read masses of text. If I want to read masses of text, I'll go and read a book. If I'm buying a comic, I want the artwork to work with the story. Yes, with this, with Terry, you get a lot of this where there's no text and it's just artwork. And it really moves along at a really fast pace. So all 10 issues of this, we're not talking about, these are not huge comics or any sort of, 24 pages long. And, there's some adverts for some of other Terry's stuff. So that's why I like this guy. I really did enjoy reading this. Now, this is not for everybody. As the title says, it is about a serial killer, a female serial killer who is being tracked by another female serial killer. It was very confusing at the start. I thought they were both the same person. They're not. So the character who carries forward from Rachel Rising is a character called Zoe, who appears to be a 10-year-old girl. She is not a 10-year-old girl. She's actually about 50 years old, but she appears to be a 10-year-old. She hasn't aged. There's some backstory in Rachel Rising. And she too is a serial killer. However, another female serial killer kills one of her best childhood friends, and she starts chasing her, trying to get to her before the police get to her. So that's the premise of the story. Both of these characters are not hugely dissimilar in that, and also we get really nice things like this at the start of here. We get little quotes saying "Revenge doesn't stop" by that's Daniel Craig. That's in issue 1. Here's issue 2. Issue 2 is my favorite cover. There we see the 10-year-old Zoe with a bloodied axe. And here we've got sooner or later, everyone sits down to a banquet of consequences. Robert Louis Stevenson. And there's another famous one, which is everybody who sets out for revenge should dig 2 graves. And you know, the Terry's artwork is really terrific. And he does let the artwork tell the story. Each of the issues ends on a cliffhanger, as you'd expect. And there's a really nice little picture here. Zoe, aged about 2, beheading all her dolls. I mean, both these 2 women you would not want to meet. Now, both of them are effectively, one of them, the one that Zoe is chasing, is driven by revenge for an abusive childhood. And Zoe herself regularly dispatches paedophiles. So here she is on the cover of issue 3, entrapping a paedophile. Yeah, you can guess his fate. So yeah, really great story, really pacey. The pace is fantastic. It's fast paced. I got through all 10 issues of this in probably about an hour. So I read the whole thing an hour. I think you can pick this up as a trade paperback. In fact, I know you can. I personally am a comic collector. I know people prefer to collect the trade paperbacks. I prefer the original comics. Yes, so as I said, it's a 10-issue series, some nice looking covers. Show you some of the covers. And it comes to a very exciting denouement, where effectively the 2 female protagonists face off against each other in the woods. Here we are with Zoe heading into the woods. This is her dog here, and there's a nice story about how she gets this dog. Here we are on issue 9, and you can see Zoe here is being pursued by the other serial killer. Yeah, so Terry Moore's Serial, I'm giving it, I love the artwork. So the artwork can have sort of 8 out of 10. Storyline, 8 out of 10. So overall, I'm giving this a very strong 8 out of 10. Thoroughly recommended here by Suddenly Comics. That's your lot. See ya again soon.